Hello, and welcome to Your Vote Counts, a nonpartisan public candidate interview service program designed to get voters acquainted with the candidates vying for the 2025 special district elections in Ward 6 of the Salem City Council and the Salem-Keizer School Board, positions 1, 3, 5, and 7. These interviews come to you through the producers at Capital Community Media, with collaboration on questions from the American Association of University Women and the League of Women Voters of Marion and Polk Counties. Interviewers are from the League of Women Voters. All candidates for these races were invited, and all but one chose to participate. Candidates did not receive the prepared questions ahead of time. Candidates were invited to prepare a 2-minute opening statement addressing their background and qualifications for the office, as well as a 2-minute closing statement. I'm Tomika Dew, your moderator from the League of Women Voters, and I'd like to introduce Jeremiah Radka, who is running for Salem-Keizer School Board, Zone 7. Welcome, candidate.
Thank you, Tomika.
We look forward to your opening comments.
So I was born and raised in Oregon. Name obviously is Jeremiah Radka. Grew up in the public school system in various different parts of the Willamette Valley. When I was in school, we had various programs that trained students to have a career focus going outside of school and into the real world. So me being that way, I have a degree in electronics from Lynn Benton Community College. I have since been in the IT industry for probably the past 25 years and have since changed that career path to be an entrepreneur and business owner of a rideshare company.
Thank you for that information. Now let's give you an opportunity to address questions of concern and interest to our community. Let's begin with what you think are the biggest challenges faced by teachers and staff of the Salem-Keizer district.
As a father of 3 children, the biggest challenge I think right now for teachers is a massive disrespect from the students toward their teachers. Growing up in the system, I always held a high respect for my teachers. They were always there. They were helpful. They educated us, prepared us for the real world. Nowadays, schools tend to feel like they're just a giant daycare for parents to facilitate 2 incomes. My goal would be to bring the educational standards back up to national levels. Oregon currently is in the 48th, 49th position of the educational schools compared to other states in the nation. To me, that's unacceptable.
Thank you for that. What is your understanding of the role and duties of a school board member?
Because I'm new at this, there's a lot that I don't know, but I am very willing to learn. As a school board member, I believe we bring measures, or not necessarily measures, but things to the school systems that allow us to relay what the parents want for their students as they are entering the school system, and convey those and vote on those things to make those reality. My goal in that regard would be to be in full support of the parents in my zone and make sure that their voices are heard, whether they agree with what I think or not. That is the goal. Obviously I'm going to have my moral side of things, but my main goal is to focus on what the parents want and how they want to see their children raised.
For our next question, I'm going to ask you what your suggestions are for involving the community in curriculum development. Could you describe the roles, levels of influence for parents, teachers, and the district in the development process?
Great question. With a lot of communities, I understand that there's maybe only one parent that's out of the house working and maybe one at home. Obviously, there needs to be some give and take with what parents have that ability to contribute. As a single father, I love to go to my kids' schools and talk with the teachers when they have the teacher conferences, things like that. So just making those things available, more so for the parents to be involved with the students, as well as sending information home for the parents to be involved and understand what their children are learning in school. I believe the saying "knowledge is power" is a great moniker for all the schools to have, and for the parents themselves. I regularly, well, I can't say regularly, but more often than not, I will go to my daughter's school and kind of go to bat for her because she was bullied in her earlier this year as well as other years. And I don't like seeing that, and I don't think any parent should. And I don't think that should be hidden from the parents. And so that transparency, I believe, needs to be there and must be put in place.
Well, I wanted to ask you a question about transparency. How will you build community trust, facilitate communication, and manage conflict between parents, teachers, and the school board, especially during sensitive discussion on school board topics?
I think in any case, there's going to be those situations where some people stay calm and assess all the details before they make a decision. I'd like to say that that's how I generally am. But then there's also going to be parents or school teachers or members that get heated and allow their emotions to take control. Can you ask the question again, just to refresh me?
Sure. We're talking about how we can build community trust and facilitate communication and manage conflict between the parents, teachers, and school board.
Definitely reopening up the school board meetings to parent interaction in a safe manner. Again, presenting all the information that is available to the school board, being able to present that to the parents, I think will allow the parents to, in a level-headed sort of way, make their voices heard in the decisions that they want the school board to have. Paramount in my mind is that the school board is not there to represent their own agendas. They're there to represent the parents to the schools who are actually taking it on to educate their students. And it's kind of this, for lack of a better word, a love triangle, because I don't feel that schools should take control over kids from the parents. They're there to work together and educate the kids for their future and for the betterment of the neighborhoods and community in general.
I'd like to talk about budgeting.
Okay.
And thinking about the school district's decisions regarding funding and budget matters over the past year, what did you support? And to kind of go to the other side of that, what did you not support?
I never support higher taxes, for one thing. One of the statistics that one of my colleagues has is that out of the 200, when the budgets were last dealt with, there were 200 cuts. Only, I think, 13 or 15 of them were administrative cuts. Everything else was below administration, probably staff, faculty, including teachers. I would love to see more of the administrative staff being held accountable. I think for a public school system or public system in general, I would advocate for limited salaries. Most of the administrators in our school system are way above a middle class income, and I'm not exactly sure if that's feasible for future references for facilitating that funding that could go toward schools, teachers, or even the curriculum that the students are going to be learning. Most of the counties in Oregon have a CTEC, like here in Salem. Up in Hillsborough, they have like a STEM program, or MESA, which is all different programs that focus on career or technical type positions. That's Oregon's future. If we're not willing to put money into the career technology classes that will provide that education for students for their future, then Oregon is shooting itself in the foot. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. A safe environment impacts learning and the ability to teach. How can you ensure students feel safe at school with issues of bullying, gangs, and harassment, like you mentioned with your daughter?
Correct. A lot of us, many discussions revolve around the resource officers, in the schools, things of that nature. I believe safety starts at home. If the child is not in a safe environment at their home, chances are they're going to be acting out or drawing attention to themselves in that way. I believe it's important to have a balance of either a safety officer or the mental health or the mental health representatives. At the last talk I was just at, I answered in this way that if we have the budget for multiple mental health providers, we can figure out the budget for also having a safety officer in the school. One of the major things that I've seen in schools is that there's a lack of respect, not only for teachers but also for other students. And when other students cause disruptions, it's nice to have somebody there that can intervene, not always with a strong arm, but just with the understanding that a lot of students who are picked on, they look up to those officers as being someone that they can go to and talk to about possibly helping handle the situation, even if it does involve the bringing in of parents or the administration, like the principals and things like that. Personally, I went to my daughter's school and I spoke with the administration and voiced my opinion about why are you not doing something when my daughter clearly comes home, she's distraught and having trouble. I also have two older boys that are in school. They've dealt with various things throughout their grades. And to be honest, sometimes I think schools, not to be sound like a passive father, but I think sometimes kids need to kind of be allowed to work out their own conflicts. Even in my daughter's classes, there's you have cliques. No matter what grade level you're in, you're going to have cliques. You're going to have best friends. You're going to have worst friends. On a daily basis, my daughter says, oh, we're not friends anymore with this other, a neighbor or a classmate. 2 days later, they're friends again. I think as parents, we just need to allow that to take its course. But if it gets too rocky, totally step in, get the local administration help to get it resolved. It should not be an ongoing thing.
Moving on, how will we improve learning and reading achievement, especially in underserved areas?
Definitely there needs to be an assessment of what the capability is of those students and work with proper goals to bring those levels of achievement up. I think there's a big disservice amongst our students where we think they're not performing very well, but we're not giving them an adequate chance to actually perform to their best ability. Oregon right now is at the bottom of its educational levels. It's like 48th or 49th in the nation. A lot of the so 30% of our third graders cannot read at level. I went through a program because I was a slow reader. I was introduced to the phonics program. One of the things, if I'm elected to the board, that I would love to do is actually make phonics a staple in those lower levels. I feel it helps students work with their ability to with vocabulary words and just their interaction with literacy. literacy, not illiteracy, literacy. But for not only do we need to focus on those that are having difficulty learning or those that are excelling, but we can't forget the middle. There's many students who just go day in and day out to class and they do their work and then they go home. And so I'd like to focus on all the students and then obviously those special circumstances for the outliers.
Thank you for that. We're going to invite you now to share your 2-minute closing remarks.
Well, thank you for inviting me here. It has been a pleasure to speak with you. And as I've already said, I'm a single father of 3 kids. I'm very much involved in their lives. And it is a challenge for me to make sure that they get the education that they have no matter what school they're in. And my oldest son is going to be an electrician. And so as soon as he graduates high school, we'll look into the path for that. My other 2, my 12-year-old son, he wants to be a chef. And my daughter, she'll probably be an entrepreneur like her father. So I grew up in a technical world and with the technical degree. Trying to think what else I can throw in here. But, if we don't prepare our kids for the future, they're not going to have one.
Is there any contact information you'd like to share related to your campaign?
Yes. So people can look up www.radka4schools.com if they want more information regarding, where I stand on different policies and things of that nature. And, and always, if you got money, this isn't a free thing. So.
Well, thank you, Candidate Radka, for our interview today and for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you.
And many thanks to Capital Community Media for their extensive technology and production skills used in creating this program. Thank you also to the League of Women Voters of Marion and Polk Counties for the design and preparation of the program, and to the American Association of University Women for help with question development. And thanks to you, the public, for watching in order to become a more informed voter. For more local, state, and national voter information on candidates and ballot issues, visit vote411.org. You have until April 29th to register to vote or to make any changes in your registration. Ballots will go out on May 1st and will be accepted if postmarked before or on Election Day, May 20th. May elections in odd-number years conducted by our counties select representatives for local districts such as school boards, fire and water districts, and transportation and cemetery districts. These are areas that affect our daily lives and are positions mostly filled by unpaid volunteers. Elections matter. Special district elections matter. Remember to vote, because your vote counts.